Hi everybody. We had quite a few out yesterday, so I wanted to make a video just going over what we did. So yesterday was the 3rd. So we started our morning with science. You can click here and look at the warm-up that we did. And we did this first page here. So this one says which table correctly classifies statements about weather and climate. So think about the difference between those two. And then each of the answer choices has a column for something that's representing weather, and then the other is for climate. Then number 42, you have a situation here. You need to decide whether it's weather or climate again. And then once you decide, make sure there's 2 climate and 2 weather. So make sure you look at the because part and make sure that matches. So we did that first page. Then we reviewed the water cycle vocabulary by making a water cycle in a bag. And so you can do this at home if you'd like. Let me get my whiteboard pulled up. Delete this. All right, so you just get a plastic bag. Here's like the seal at the top. And we just reviewed the parts from that we talked about from last year. So everything starts off with the sun. That's your powerhouse. Without the sun, we would not have the water cycle. So we labeled it sun. So the sun heats the water. The water right now, if it's in the ocean, in a lake, a river, if it's in a puddle, it's liquid. And the sun's heat, so the sun gives off light and heat, but it's the heat that is turning the water, the liquid water, into a gas, and we call that gas water vapor. So this process right here is called evaporation. So you can label that on your bag. And due to the density, that water vapor will rise. And as it's rising, it's condensing. It's a lot cooler as you get higher and higher in the sky. And so it starts to condense and form a cloud. This is condensation. And then when that process happens, so here when the sun is evaporating, we're going from a liquid to a gas. When we're in condensation, that process is going from a gas back to a liquid. And when that liquid falls, it can fall as sleet, snow, rain, or hail. So it falls as a liquid, but depending on the temperature, it could fall as one of these things here, and that is precipitation. All right, so we labeled our bags, and we put water down here on the bottom, and then we taped it up to a window that gets a lot of sunlight, and we are just kind of waiting and seeing, and we're going to be watching throughout the week what's happening. So if you want to make that bag at home and bring it in, we could fill it up with water here, and then we could add it to the ones that are in class. So there's that. And then delete. All right, I didn't want to delete. All right, so then for reading, we read a book called One Word for Kids, and it was all about a class, and their teacher gave them the job of picking one word, and there were 3 things that you had to do. So one was you had to, let me see if I can remember off the top of my head. You had to think about something that was meaningful to you, like something that you're going to want to live out for the year. And this one word is going to help you It's going to be something that's going to help you have your best year ever. And then like you had to look into your heart, like something that's genuine, like you're actually gonna, be able to live by. And then the third thing was like you actually have to practice it. So if you pick the word, for example, kindness, then you're making an effort each day to practice kindness. So we went through the book, and then we all picked one word to live by this year, and then we made a bracelet with our word. And then I have in your take home folder, we did a party horn, and we put some goals. We wrote some goals for the new year on that. So you can get that page when you come back. And then for writing, this is also in your take home folder. But let me bring up the page so you can see what we did. All right, so we corrected the following sentences. So, for example, comma, we popped fireworks and watched the ball drop in Times Square in New York City. So we had a comma added, we fixed the spelling, and then capitalization for the city. And then during the American Revolution needed to be capitalized. Comma, George Washington presented the first national flag on January 1st. So we capitalized the month and separated the date and the year with a comma. There, presented the first national flag on January 1st, 1776. Then a double negative is a statement that contains two negative words. Change one of the double negatives below so that each sentence is correct. So he doesn't want anybody to help him, and Monica isn't playing with any boys. All right, when the word ends with the shun sound, it can be spelled Tion, Sion, or Cian. So we circled the correctly spelled words below. And then we diagrammed the sentence. The silvery snowflakes fluttered softly to the ground. So we were looking at the subject, the predicate, the subject noun, the verbs, the articles, article adjectives, the adverbs, the adjectives, prepositional phrase, preposition, all of those. Labeled that. And then here's an example of using it again in a sentence with the they didn't want anybody to play at recess. So there's that. So once you get your page, you can go back to this video and write that down. And then we had some extra time, so we finished our party horns after that. Then in math, you can click here. Oh, no, click here. And this is just our warm-up question. So we got in a big circle and we played a game with multiples, just practicing our multiples of 7. And then we haven't gotten to this yet, the perimeter plus. If we have time today, we'll start it. And then we reviewed perimeter and area. So we took a pretest, and this is in your take-home folder as well. So it's just seeing what you remember from last year. So finding the perimeter of the rectangle, finding the area of the square, and then finding the perimeter and area of the shape below. So we did that. Then you can click here and get the notes. You can write this down and add it to your notebook whenever you get back to class. Ooh. So, oh my goodness, there we go. Okay, so okay, this thing doesn't like me. Hold on. All right, we're just going to leave it like that. All right, so we were talking about the difference between perimeter and area. So perimeter is the outside measure around a 2D shape. Area measures the inside. So perimeter outside, think about like if you're outside and you have a fence, the fence goes all the way around the outside. So that would be, you would use, if you had a question and you wanted to know how far along or how much fencing you needed to go all the way around. That would be, you would use the formula for perimeter. And then if you wanted to put down some new grass inside that fence, that would be the area inside. So that would be, you would need to find the area. We have formulas. So perimeter of a rectangle is listed there. You're taking all the sides and you're adding them up. So you can do that in one of two ways. You can split it apart and just do length plus width plus length plus width, because a rectangle has four sides. Or you can combine the lengths and combine the widths and then add them together. So you multiply 2 times L and 2 times W and then add those two together. And when we say L, we're talking about the length and W would be the width. Then here's an example problem of that. Then here's perimeter of a square. So if you have a square, you have four sides that are the same. So instead of saying length and width, L and W, we replace it with the letter S. So again, you can separate it out. You can say P equals S plus S plus S plus S, side plus side plus side plus side. Or you can combine that, since you're doing that repeated addition, and just do 4 times one of the sides. And that'll give you, each of those gives you the same answer. And then here's the sample problem that we did. And again, that S is standing for side. And then area, you can do it, if you have a rectangle, you could do area equals length times width. And here's an example that we did. And then if you have a square, again, we're changing it to side since they're all the same. So side times side. And you can either write that with the X or a dot. Both of those mean to multiply. So we added that to our notebook. And then there's some on your choice board. There's some things here on for math. There's some new things here. And there's some new video supports here. And so those were updated. You can go look at some of those. And then social studies, we did Congress decision making in week 9 and amending the Constitution today. And both of those were from Studies Weekly 9. I'm not sure, you may check in your Launchpad. I don't remember from a student view if it's in there or not. But if you go to your Launchpad, if you have a computer you can work on from home, and you type in Studies Weekly, see if you have this. Here's what mine looks like. Yours is going to look a little different. So I go into the 5th grade one, and then I go down to week 9, and then the reading is here. So here's the Congress decision-making process, and then the other one was amending. So it's just these first two is what we read. So see if you can get that. If not, we'll get the magazine for you when you get back to class. And then let me go back. Then for the remainder of the day, we finished working on our choice boards for that, and then I pulled a small group to go over some more area and perimeter type problems, and that was our Monday. So today we have our map testing for reading. If you're missing today, there will be makeups. I want to say on the 13th. I could be wrong. I'll double check that. But don't worry about missing. We'll have a makeup date. And then you've got your science warm up. And then we're going to do a lab today. I'll show some photos of that. You can do it from home. And then I'll post later the notes that we take. And then I'll try to make another video for tomorrow, but some of these links, like the warm-up question and this, all of these that are underlined, you can click on those links. And then from your Launchpad, you can also get into Think Central. And so you can go to your lessons, and we're looking at 9.1. And then if you are able to get into the Studies Weekly, these are the next two sections that we're going to read about. So there you go. All right, talk to you later. Bye.